thanks for joining me today. It's Kathie. I have a new project to share with you. We'll be using the July 2017 paper pumpkin kit, and this is alternate project number 5. Before we begin, I just want to share some good news that I finally got my blog back up. It's called berrywishes.com. Hopefully you'll come by and check it out. Okay, we're going to be creating today a cute little whale card, and we're going to get started. We're going to use the leaf stamp, and what we're doing here is we're going to suggest trees. So that's what we're going to create here is 3 trees using the leaf stamp. But that first tree there, I didn't really show you that well because my head was too much in the frame, so I did cut out a lot. So I'm going to show it to you 2 more times. Basically, you just draw the trunk first, or stamp the trunk first with the leaf stamp, and then flip it over, and then just load it up with some more ink. And then I just stamped it in the center, left and right, to get that 2nd and 3rd generation shadowing behind the original stamping there. And then you're going to go up 2 more times, but when you do that, just stamp it 2nd generation just once. Like you don't have to do the stamping in the center, left, right again. And then you'll do it a 3rd time. And if you think you need a shadow here and there, you can just do that, just to enhance it a bit more. And then once you're happy with your trees, we're just going to fussy cut each one of them out. Just make sure you leave a little bit of paper at the bottom there, because that'll be kind of like your anchor. And what we want is we want each tree to be taller than the other. So I just took one of them and removed about 1/4 inch to make that tree trunk taller. And then the second one will take off about 1/8. Okay, and then we'll just extend those trunks. And I happen to have Tranquil Tide on my desk, so I just grabbed that. But if I did mention it to you earlier, I did use Garden Green to stamp out the trees and the Tranquil Tide for the tree trunks, but you can use the same color. We're just going to glue down the trees in a nice trio. And sorry if I'm a little bit off the screen there, but when I'm zoomed in that closely, I tend to forget. And the window is kind of small, so that's why sometimes I'm just a little bit off there. Now we're going to move on to creating the whale. Grab the sticker sheet and the side where it is the lemon line twist. I took out the backing paper and just traced out the shape, and then draw a vertical line for the tail, and then just some connecting lines to the body, and then draw a quick mustache. Then you're going to make leaves. And that's going to be the shape of your tail for this whale. And then just connect the tail to the body. And then here's where you can fuss a bit more. You can make the tail a little bit higher up, a little wider, a little narrower. But you don't want your whale from end to end to be super wide, because your card panel is only 4 1/4 inches wide, and you don't want it to kind of overextend it. Okay, and then I did draw that little fin at the top of the whale, and then we'll just fussy cut it out. And then this part here, I didn't cut right up to the line there because I thought it was just a little bit too narrow on that one side of the tail. Okay, now we're going to erase very carefully the pencil marks. And now we're ready to shade in the whale using basic gray and a little dauber. We're just going to shade halfway down. So just shade the top part and then go light or fade towards the center. And I have little bits coming off of my little dauber there because it is getting a little bit old. So that's why you see those little dots everywhere. Okay, and then shade in your tail, and then load up some ink on the bottom part of the tail just to emphasize that a lot more, and that way it gets that tail popping. And just be sure that you leave a little bit of a highlight on the tail part there. Now I used smoky slate there just to shade along the bottom belly of the whale, but you know what? You can just use what you have left over on your dauber that you used with the basic gray. And then with Marina Mist, we're just going to shade along the bottom part of that whale again, just to give it some more details, and then also shade along the bottom and top part of the tail so that it gives it some more interest. Okay, and then we're just going to quickly draw out the fin for the whale. So just color it in the same way and then just cut it out. And then now we're ready to just kind of glue that down. Hopefully the placement looks all right. And then with the black marker, black Stampin' Right marker, I just drew out the eye. So kind of make it long, not like round. And then I just dotted it with my gel pen. Phew, so I think it turned out okay. Now, I'm using the circle panel from the kit and also the blue one there, which I did cut in half. And then we're going to use that mountain wood piece. And we're going to stamp out the clouds using Soft Sky. And I decided that I'm going to glue down the panel or stick down the panel onto the blue panel and have that wood piece sitting on the outside of that circle. And we're going to glue down the trees next. So kind of somewhat in the center. And when you put your whale down, make sure you don't show those corner ends there, because then it'll look kind of unfinished. And I did proceed to glue down the whale, but I didn't like it. The trees were kind of bugging me. I figured I'd better glue those down to get them nice and flat. And I'm just going to foam tape the whale to give it some dimension. And we'll just remove the excess from the trees. And we're going to foam tape that onto the wood piece. And again, see my corner there is not quite there, so I'm just going to adjust that to get it on there to cover up that little corner part because it looks much better. Okay, and then we'll just double foam tape the bottom part of the whale to reinforce that, and also the little tail part there too is double foam taped, and we'll just glue that down. Now I forgot to put the washi tape on first before I glued that panel down, but I figured I'll just stick it down there and then just clean up the edges. But it's better to have it where the washi tape is tucked behind the panel, and that way it looks much more finished. And the thanks I stamped from the stamp set and just fussy cut it out, and I did put down that panel there on a top folding card base, which is 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. So here's a quick look of the card, and yeah, I think it turned out pretty good. I'm not going to put any other embellishments on it. And here's a couple of still shots of the card. I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial, and hopefully you'll come by to my blog and check it out. Thanks so much for joining me. Bye for now.